Hello, gamers. It's time for I am not level 1, and I can afford this. I have no credits, yet I must spend. I think where I'm going to go from here is focus more on probably going to sell store most of these in the long term, but I'm thinking I've got this one mod that I haven't really used too much before, so I might as well get a commission with that faction and try to build a fleet out of their ships. Time for Carrier Invictus? Probably not. You're gonna have to wait on that one. Just got here. What's the shop in the top right? I think you mean ship. Caught you with a typo. Looks like you're going to typo jail. You fool. You've made a mistake on the internet. Don't you know that's illegal? This is my ship. From Big Brain Expansion. It's a battle carrier. It's very cool. But it is very sensitive, so be sure to say nice things about him. Okay, the Cyclops is a very sensitive ship. Hit the gamer alarm. That is not a bad idea. I don't know, maybe I should waste some money and get a soundboard. Have some kind of like, it's gaming time, as like an alarm sound. Yes, that would be funny. But I've got to do a cost-benefit analysis on the money-to-funny ratio. We call it clownonomics back where I'm from. I surrendered my eyes to witness your big brain. Good afternoon. Well, that sounds like a great trade-off, Conchi. Make the it's gaming time for pings and such. Yeah, exactly. Free money. Good evening. Well, good evenings, Sagiv Cohen. But yeah, I think we're gonna go get some... How is our relationship with the Ocular Armada? Not great. How many AI cores do I have? None. Basically. I've got this one, but I want that for myself. I guess I could sell a bunch of stuff on the open market, and that might get me a couple of points. It's probably going to have to do missions for them. Hey, you got it. Nice. I'm very good at pronunciation. Some might say it's my specialty. Now, am I going to do this? This is a bounty, right? It's probably what this is. Yeah, 30,000 for this. I mean, I'm here, so... Seems like the obvious thing to do. Oh, right. You know what? It's probably... That's probably the reason why I wasn't. 27%. I probably needed to wait. But we do have some cruisers and some other stuff. And we'll be fine without it, right? We've got hull restoration. We can recover these ships if we lose them. No big deal. It's just a 30,000 pirate station. Can't be that hard. Oh, wait, you know what? I might actually have my stream settings wrong. Uh-oh. Yeah, hold on. Yeah, I forgot that I... Hold on, I'm gonna have to shut off the stream for a second. I've got the wrong settings. We'll be right back after these messages. Okay, give me a second. Video, no, Yeah, okay, I think I've got it. We've been killed, lads. Did you die? Sadly, yes. But then I lived. You've been... Yes, you have been thrown into the void. And I am John Starsector. That's why I'm allowed to do that. They give you a license. I'm not going to elaborate on that. Alright, let's see if we can kill this. I mean, it's got a lot of missiles and it's got a few ballistics, but I guess it's really not that hard, huh? Come on. There we go. Got the overload. Right. Now we just need some body to finish it off. Beautiful. You know what? This might actually be part of a good strategy if you want to take these out early. It's just get a Typhoon, get a Vigilance, throw on some safety uprides. And you still need something else to do, like kinetic damage, but... And just being able to fire off a bunch of Reapers does make it a little bit faster. Even if you have no combat skills. We live, we void, we live again. Yeah, that sounds like something Socrates wrote. Yeah, I'm gonna have to dock you points for plagiarizing. He probably didn't use as many words, but, you know, something to that effect. Maybe it was Nietzsche. What the hell's the X-ship shape? Never seen it. It's from a mod. It's from my mod. In the description, where there is a link. It's the good old Cyclops. Wait, Socrates said something similar? Probably not. But I did make you think you were smart for a second. You're welcome. Some people call it a butterfly, some people disagree. Yeah, clearly it's vanilla. Yeah, exactly. I don't know, it looks pretty vanilla to me. Okay, so we did that. Very cool. We do want to... Okay, so they do have a couple of missions. Will I be able to get to that one? We'll see. I mean, there are a couple of slipstreams going down this way, so... Red primary star. That's most of them. So desert. That's not a desert. Desert. So this one. Gotcha. Unless it's in this system. Okay, so it could be either of them, because they both have a desert. Hey, I'm not too late. Hello, Chad. Hello, Podsky. Good to see ya. Socrates probably didn't say that because it would have been in Greek. Oh man, that's one of my... I definitely have heard a joke to that effect, where someone's like, you know, many people believe that, like, a famous philosopher said this, but he didn't actually, because this is an English sentence, and he would have said it in like, I don't know what language it was, but it's like, that's the thing, I don't remember the details of it, but there's a joke that goes something like that. You know, many people believe René Descartes said, "I think, therefore I am," but this is impossible because he was French, so he would have used French, so he didn't know English. Something to that effect. Yeah, smartasses think alike. You know, people say that about every kind of thing. It's like, you know, great minds think alike, but all fools' thoughts run in the same channel. Like, I'm starting to think that's a load of nonsense. Well, how would you know Socrates didn't know English? You weren't alive back then. That's a good point, the Beauregard, and if I didn't see it myself, then there's no way to prove that I'm correct. I mean, both of those sayings, the great minds think alike and all fools' thoughts run in the same channel, they're just different ways of saying people who agree with me are smart and people who disagree with me are all stupid. It's basically that, but in fancier terms. But you gotta say, based. And true. Based and true. Not always, I mean, they don't always go hand in hand. Sometimes things can be based without being true, or true without being based. But in this case, it's both. People who disagree with me are wrong and stupid. Me specifically, of course, not just like a general, but like me specifically. Not everyone can follow this philosophy. Bro, they're already fighting the Remnant. Wait, somebody actually answered this thing? I'm not really sure what to say. Usually they just fight or run. So which is it? I'm gonna kill you. For fun and profit. Socrates nuts, your point is invalid. Well, pack it up, boys. Philosophy is over. Do I really want to deploy all of that? That's expensive. And their fleet doesn't look that hard to beat, so I think I can just get away with deploying a lot of the cheaper crap. And then using the Cyclops as like an anchor. Just rely on the smaller ships to distract the enemy and the Cyclops to kind of bulldoze its way through the middle. I guess I could have done the Legion as well instead, but yeah. Actually, I probably should have done the Legion because this thing doesn't really have good weapons yet. So it's actually mostly relying on the Warthogs. Although against pirates, their armor is pretty light, so that should be fine. Get him. Yeah, kill him. Kill him with your Ion Blast. Shrike? That's as dead as a bike. Because Warthogs. Warthogs are surprisingly good when they can actually get to their target. Yeah, I caught your stream early this time. Well, congratulations on sound effects. You win a nothing. Please take it, but handle it with great care. It's quite fragile. Spiff sent me? Who? Spiff who? You mean the spiffing Brit, right? I win and entertain, many big fun. Spiffing Brit. He did. I mean, I'm gonna have to say Pixar didn't happen. It seems unlikely. But very cool if true. The British spiff? Well, I mean, that's the only one I know of. I mean, if that's true, I'd like to see what he said. That's pretty cool. He did do a Star Sector video a couple months ago, right? Did he? I know he's done one in the past, covering like an infinite money glitch. Message okay, so hold on. So that probably... if you try to send a link, it's going to sort of automatically get blocked. I wonder if I can temporarily turn that off. Sir, infinite money glitch. Sir, you are starving an entire star system, just like in real life. The person who I'm parasocial with is being parasocial. This is crazy, yo. Well, but you've got to realize, yeah, people on the internet are also human. Nestle mindset. That more like the Nestle grind set, my guy. There are days attempt turning off on Twitch. I don't know about YouTube. Yeah, that's what I'm going to try and grok right now. And by grok, I mean figure it out. Sorry, I picked up lingo from a YouTuber I've been watching. but it has nothing to do with the Grok AI. My bad. Yeah, auto-banning links is normally a good thing. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. God, where... here's the problem. I don't remember where actually that setting even is. Oh, there it is. Okay. So you can try sending the link now and see if that works. Because this is also an experiment to see if we can just turn that off temporarily and then turn it back on. Grok these nuts. Bro, it's so over. Another D's nuts joke. I really hate how they called the AI that. Stealing from good sci-fi. Well, I mean, yeah, but it's like, it's Grover. If you're making an AI, then, or well, whether you want to call it an AI or just a large language model, like debatably, it's not quite an AI really, but setting that aside, if it's like some kind of advanced futuristic technology, which it kind of is, then you're going to go to sci-fi literature first for names, because that's kind of an obvious choice. AI is basically buzzword. Well, yeah, they're always going to hype it up as an artificial intelligence, and AGI is just around the corner, because that is marketing. So, okay. Does anyone want to try linking to a video or something in chat to see if that... Because I've turned off the setting. I want to see if it works, and then I can turn it back on. Try that, it's the stream. Okay, yeah, there is in fact a link there. It doesn't, I can't, huh. Interesting. So I can't actually click the link, which is what you'd expect from a link, but I can copy paste that into my search bar, and it didn't get blocked. Okay, cool. So we'll just turn that setting back on. Give me a second. Boom. Okay, so if I want someone to send a link, I can temporarily turn that off. That's good to know. How did you learn Star Sector? I'm part of the Seth Tide. I think I came after the Seth Tide. I think that video was probably like a year... Oh, actually... When did I start playing? How old is Seth's video? Let me just look at this. 2019. Oh yeah, that video was several years old when I started playing. I kind of just brute forced it a lot. Yeah, 6 years? I probably started playing like 3 years ago. Somewhere in the range of like a year before I started like my first YouTube videos on this channel. They put ads in the stream now. So there are definitely some settings with that to automate how ads work on channels. Now, for the most part, I've just told it to keep the ads low, but I am wondering, there is a setting called like manual ads, and I'm wondering, because one of the issues that you have is that there's, like if you turn off mid-rolls, YouTube will just run them anyways, but they'll take the money. So in theory, I could say change it to manual, but I'm wondering if they would just place it like if I just set it to manual and then don't do any ads, will that actually work, or will they try to place ads automatically anyways when they realize I'm not doing anything? Hold on, let me summon people to watch ads. An insidious practice. Go forth. Oh, that's what you mean. He's performing a summoning. You know what would be funny is if if gifted memberships did actually summon people into the stream. That would be very funny. It's like, congratulations. I don't care. It's like, oh, you were watching a you're in the middle of a house fire and you're watching a YouTube tutorial, or someone's choking and you're watching a YouTube tutorial on how to save someone from choking, and then you just get like a gifted YouTube membership and it pulls you over to the stream. That would be kind of funny. Not so funny for the person choking, but it would be very funny. 10 more people have joined, sir. Excellent work. We shall continue our march through the YouTube algorithm until all are certified as gamers. I just joined What's the Weird Exo King ship? That's the Cyclops from my mod. Now give me a lobster. Tell him to bring out the lobster! Yeah, I didn't do the sprite for that. That was Mill Hill Day. But yeah, I'm something of a modder myself. I programmed it in. Using my elite hacker skills. It's actually not that hard. So people, there's like a tutorial on the wiki. Maybe I should make a video going over that, because it's, it might be a little easier to learn in visual form. But it's, strictly speaking, it's not that hard to do. In the path of big-brained Lud we trust. Yes. The lobster army. Where's the money fish? That's the... you know what? I swear, every week I have one day where I'm like, oh yeah, money fish. That game is... Master of Orion's really fun. I should finish that series. And then I get home and I just never remember to do that. And I've been doing that for like the last several months. Or there's just one, like every week I'm like, you know what? That would be really fun. I should go finish that. And then I just don't. So one of these days, I'm gonna have that moment at like a good time where I can actually do it. But yeah, I've been going through that cycle over and over. I found out there was a stream because Cooler Guy gave you his bank account again. Well, hello, Spore Cool. I didn't know that that's how it worked, but I guess that makes sense. If you get a membership, then it probably gives you like a YouTube notification. There's definitely... Okay, if that's how that works, there is definitely a way to weaponize it. Like if you... Oh. So, hold on. I'm starting to think a little bit like the Spiffing Brit right now, because I'm thinking you could break YouTube by... Because you can set like a membership tier and get the price to like whatever the minimum price is that YouTube will allow, and then just gift... and then like set up a second YouTube account and gift yourself like a ton of memberships. So you get most of the money back anyways. YouTube is still going to make a small cut, but then everyone who gets a membership is going to get a notification that you're streaming. So it's not free, but it is going to be some pretty cheap advertising. Well, there you go, Spiffing Brit. That's a good idea for you, if you happen to hear this. This is now more people. Mission successful. Mission successful. We got them. Although it... Actually, I don't even know what they say in that Call of Duty, because usually it's mission failed. We'll get them next time. And Podsky, another 20 memberships. Not to be outdone and left behind. How many people are we summoning here? Wait, let me see the numbers. Oh yeah, the numbers have gone up. You've successfully summoned many people. Good work, team. Fire pro... Ah. Billions must become green. Billions must become gamers. Good work, soldier. Move on to the next mission. But yeah, did the Spiffing Brit make another Star Sector video? Yeah, because the one that comes up is the old one. Give me a couple seconds here. I'm going to scavenge these.
For today's video, 4 of the greatest Skyrim YouTubers are going to race to see who can defeat the most people in just...
Actually, I think it was because of the Spiffing Brit that I found Mechabellum. Because he did like a YouTube competition that was sponsored, where he got some YouTubers to play the game. And I was like, wow, that game looks really cool. And it is. It is extremely cool. Yeah, I don't see a recent Star Sector video. British jump scare. You thought you were safe in the 13 colonies, but here come the British. And they're going to tax the hell out of you. I guess I'll scavenge these. 6 Marines? Sure. Spill the tea, babe. Man. Spill the tea in the context of the American Revolution. There's a joke in there somewhere. I just haven't quite figured it out yet. Oh, mate, you got a license for that. Officer, this man over here stabbed me 37 times. Oh, you got a getting stabbed license, do ya? Let me see your papers and registration. Wait. I killed a completely different fleet. Well. And here I thought I had killed the bounty. But no. I'd killed somebody else entirely. Oh, and they're scared, of course. I don't even need the money, I need the reputation. Come over here. Go forth, my legion, and crush the enemies. Bleeding out on public property. That's a ticket, mate. I do actually have a license to take this bounty, Potsky. I'm the Starfarer. If I've got a license for anything, it's a license to kill. There's a critically low amount of omens in this fleet. Well, that's the idea. We're gonna keep it that way. Gonna try and focus more on things like Centurions and Ludic Path Brawlers. So, you know, there are other good ships. Oh! But there is an unholy build for the Omen where you go with safety overrides and double antimatter blaster. And it cuts into your capacitors a lot, but it does work. It has enough flux to actually shoot 2 antimatter blasters. Which is... Is that the best decision? I don't know, but it is fun. Yeah, get 'em. Man, hypervelocity drivers are just so great. Despite their low DPS, hypervelocity drivers make up 50% of the damage dealt, despite only making up 5% of the DPS. You know, that's the kind of energy they bring to the table. Like, I don't know how else to put it, but like if you run if you've run detailed combat results, a lot of the times it's really hard to get other kinetics to compete. Like you'll be like, you'll sit there and you think to yourself, there's no way that like that hypervelocity drivers will be able to compete with all these other options. They have so much more DPS. But then you look at the numbers at the end of the fight, and that extra range and that extra hit strength means that they just do. They just outperform everything despite having the lowest DPS. And it's not like by a small margin either. It's by a pretty significant margin. That Loist and Skag will soon be replaced by, did you scan your face? Oh, dear God. Well, yeah, isn't there like a new laws being introduced about registration to like make sure that children aren't using the wrong websites? Or at least, you know, on paper that's what the justification is, but you know, justifications don't often meet the reality. Yep, and it's ridiculous. Yeah. They just want to ban the best parts of the internet. Let me tell you, ever since the dawn of the internet, people have been waging wars against gooning websites and gooning material. And somehow it's still here. Now, I might take an unpopular opinion and say some of that stuff is, in fact, most of that stuff is very not good for you. But I think at this point it's pretty clear that no attempt to ban it will ever be successful without extremely draconian measures that ultimately would be more costly than any benefits gained. But hey, that's just my opinion. But think of the children. You're right, woohoo. I should think of the children. Wait. Think of the children. Think of the children. But isn't that what Epstein did? Are you telling me? Lock this man up immediately. Whenever someone says, think of the children, that should be the reply. It's just like, you know who else thought of the children? Jeffrey Epstein. Is that what you're suggesting? Just send the children to the mines. Well, that would solve a lot of problems. Children do yearn for the mines. It takes teaching people that the internet, by default, is more of an 18+ space and not your child's daycare. Here's the reality. A lot of people want to be... Let me word this. A lot of people want to have kids, but they don't want to be parents. That's my experience. They love the idea of having a kid, but they don't want to do any parenting. You know, as much as my arrangement with my roommates is pretty convenient, they do have a kid, and man, they are trying their hardest to turn him into an iPad kid, because they just don't want to play with him. Yeah, they would rather sit on their computers. It's kind of sad, really. But that's kind of the problem. It's like people will have kids, and then they would rather sit in front of their TVs or sitting on their computers. And that's just not good if you have a kid. You need to spend time with the kid. Like, they're trying their hardest to turn him into an iPad kid because they got him an iPad and he will sit on it. But as soon as I walk down and walk past their living room, he immediately gets up and starts following me around and tries to get me to play with him because he doesn't want to be an iPad kid. I think that's the reality for most kids. They don't want to be an iPad kid, but sometimes their parents leave them no choice. Ouch, my roommate uses a tablet for a kid. To me, I would have given my tablet until they were 8 at least. Yeah. Like, I remember being a kid, and when I was maybe 10, there were, like, kids that were, like, 6, and their parents gave them, like, iPhones. And I didn't have a phone. And that's just very, very strange, isn't it? You know, like, kids probably shouldn't have those things. But, you know, if you're a parent and if you have a kid but you don't want to be a parent, then you give them something that's going to make them stop bothering you. And iPads can do that job pretty well. What pisses me off is that most people who use their kids for content on YouTube or Instagram, yeah, that can definitely go wrong. I don't spend a lot of time looking at or thinking about any of that, so I'd like to believe that some of that is not like exploiting their kids so much as it is like documenting family life. I would hope. But, you know. Consoles are fine, even PC, because it means they have a place to sit and use it, but not mobile because they will never ever leave the internet. Yeah, I can kind of see what you're saying there. Like, with PCs and consoles, they have like a dedicated space where you have to go out to that space to use the PC. But if you give them a mobile phone, then they can take it with them wherever they go, and then they're just going to learn to be addicted to the internet. I'm moving back to live with my parents to stop my 5-year-old sister from becoming an iPad kid. Well, that is an interesting mission. Good luck with that. I didn't touch a computer till 8 and the internet till 12. However, I just turned 36, so internet wasn't widely spread at that age. Well, yeah. It's obviously going to be more common with kids nowadays. I mean, I was using computers at a very early age, but there wasn't much access to the internet. I think there was, like, when I was a young child, there was still, like, we still had, like, dial-up, and even then, I just wasn't allowed to use it. Reject touch phone, give them a Nokia again. But yeah, that's kind of like, but the thing is, it's not like an accident. What I was getting at earlier is that it's not an accident when kids become iPad kids. Like, it's not like the parents are giving them these technologies thinking it's going to benefit the kid, and then, you know, not realizing the consequences. No, that's the point. They're giving the kid an iPad because they want them to shut the hell up and leave me alone. And an iPad does a really good job at that, and then they go, oops, why is my kid addicted to the internet when they're 15? Well, you did it. And you know that. Stop lying. That's what I would say. First 7 minutes of the stream are missing? Are they? Well, Yeah, because I did have to... So I did have to, like, stop the broadcast briefly because I had the wrong settings. I wonder how that's going to turn out in the final product, if they're just going to be missing or if it's going to, like, glue them together. Yeah, gives child a distraction so they leave them alone. Why would the internet do this to my child? Yeah, that is what a lot of people are like. Every day we're closer to idiocracy. It's got what plants crave. It's hard to be a parent with 3 young kids, but I understand what you said about have kids but not parent. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it can definitely be difficult juggling kids in addition to the rest of your life, but it's like, you know, if you're going to have kids, it's a commitment. And a lot of people want, for whatever reason, decide that having kids is something that they need to do in their life, but then they're not really ready for that commitment either. So then they just kind of find halfway measures. They find ways to do as little parenting as possible. We used to have great children cartoons. Well, I think there probably are still those things. But, you know, those, like, there are still good kids cartoons from what I hear. It's just that, you know, parents are giving them an iPad and putting them on YouTube, which is not where you're going to find that. Bluey? Yeah, that's the one that always comes up. I don't really know anything about Bluey, but people seem to... Sometimes they'll get like a YouTube recommendation or be like a video essay on why Bluey is like this... It's actually like really smart and genius and really good for kids. And it's like, all right, well, you know, I'm not really interested in that, but it's good to know that at least there's some cartoons that have like value, aren't just slop. It's good to know that people are excited about that. Two deserts? No, arid. Slightly different. Now, bro, Eastern European cartoons are the best. Well, Monogoose. I'm trying to picture what an Eastern European cartoon might be like, but I have no goddamn idea. Some distance. Oh, I didn't read that. Let's play everyone's favorite game. Find the some distance. Oh, wait. I did it. I'm so good at this game. Do I go back to Galatia? How's our relationship? Better. Did I pick up an AI course? I picked up one. I'm probably going to want more of these so I can try and give them to the Oculans to get more reputation. Until then, I guess we'll stop by Galatia and then head back up. Go do that. I probably don't even need to go to Galatia itself. Yeah, we'll just head here. Czech Kritek Molrat. Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce Kritek. Is a splendid example of Eastern European cartoon. Interesting. Yeah, generally Czech cartoons are good. Alright. Masha and the Bear, Eastern European. Yeah, these are just cartoons that I've never heard of. Oh, there's like some... Oh, the Moomins, right. That's like some European cartoon that apparently other people have watched. That I was not even sure what that is. It's like a hippo. It's like some kind of white hippo thing. Finnish, yeah. Slop 100. The internet. Moments, yes. That's right. You know what? That reminds me. There's like a specific cheese that they named like Moomin flesh because it kind of looked like a Moomin's. But then when localizing the name of the cheese to other languages, they didn't call it that because, well, that's kind of horrifying. But for some reason in Finnish, they're totally happy to call it Moomin flesh. Swedish. Okay, they're not Finnish, they're Swedish. Yeah, the Invictus having 4,000 people is kind of crazy. Like, there are a few sci-fi stories that I've seen, and at least one that I've read, where... right, this. Yeah, we can do that at some point. Like, where like a ship is just in space for so long with like a large number of people that the people inside the ship don't even know what space is because the culture is degraded so much. It's just like an entire colony of people who live generations on the ship and just don't even know what space is because they've been here so long. That sounds very 40K, but it's also in what was it called? Child of Ruin. No, not Child of Ruin. That's the sequel. It's Children of Time. The one with the spiders. Yeah, it definitely happens in Warhammer 40K, but I mean, I've heard of it in the lore, but I haven't read too much of it myself. Mostly just heard about Warhammer 40K. My wife's favorite book series. Oh, really? Yeah, the thing about Children of Time is I kind of have mixed feelings about it because a lot of I like the spiders. Spiders, big fan of the spiders. Love the spiders. You know, Bianca, Fabio, great stuff. The humans, they just kind of annoyed me a lot. It's a common problem in sci-fi of characters not being as fleshed out as the ideas. And I mean, Children of Time had some really cool ideas with the spiders, and the spider characters weren't annoying because they're spiders. Like they're very different psychologically, and investigating that was interesting. But when you shift back to the human perspective, like the protagonist doesn't do anything. Like he will just stand there and like have people monologue at him, and he just doesn't have any opinions. It's so annoying. Couldn't stand that guy. So I kind of have like a mixed opinion about it. Like some cool ideas, but also, you know, has sci-fi has that chronic issue of like human characters being annoying. Ilrath fan. Yeah, out of context, that does sound like Ilrath propaganda, doesn't it? Spiders, I'm a big fan of the spiders. Love the spiders. They're very cool. Love them in their starships. Flamethrowers, some of the best I've ever seen. Cloaking devices, a brilliant piece of technology if I do say so myself. A lot of old sci-fi is difficult to adapt because of that. Well, I mean, a lot of, like, would Dune have that problem? Because my understanding is that, like, Paul Atreides is very important to the plot of Dune, so I would assume that the books do a good job characterizing him. Having, you know, not read Dune. I was interested in the Vast Fortune. Oh, I gained reputation. I'm kind of clicking randomly, honestly. Accept, sure. Wait, which end goes in the sensor ray again? Well, yes, I'm perfectly sane, Mr. Alec. Because it's about worms. Dune, the book about worms. I guess you're technically correct. They're eating the moths. They're eating the butterflies. They're eating bugs that live there. Spiders love the spiders. You know, from the south, they're sending bugs. They're sending worms. They're sending flies. Some of them, I assume, are butterflies. But most of them, disgusting creatures. Spiders, no. We love the spiders. They eat up all the bugs. Let the butterflies through. A spider would never hurt a butterfly. I've heard them testify. Man, that's such a terrible impression. But it's like an impression of somebody else's impression of a guy, so I guess it's fine. You know, eventually it just becomes its own thing, really. I'm great friends with the spiders, yeah. That's a good way of putting it. And some of the bugs, I assume, are pollinators. Speaking of lore, though, I should probably... So, you know, I've got too many different ideas and not enough focus to actually do all of them. Like, I did make a video about how to pilot the Monitor, and I could do other flagships, but I'm also thinking, like, wait, I should maybe make a video on how to do, you know, how to make your first mod for Star Sector. Introduction to modding. But then also I'm thinking, lore-wise, I could do a lore video. Here's the history of the domain as we know it. Yeah, I'll pay it, whatever. Scalp me all you will, pirate. In the end, I will be the one who rules the sector. You are but a pawn in a greater game. Take what pitiful earnings you can, for they may be your last. Let's go talk to the pink guys. Heavy mass driver is just a very flux efficient option, I guess. Yeah, it does seem like, according to some of the number crunchers on the forums, that when it comes to medium kinetics, the heavy mass driver is just like the best option now. It is like, I mean, it's not as flux efficient as the heavy machine gun, but we're talking a difference of 450. It's like, it's about twice the range. So, range is normally pretty expensive. Getting the same range as the, right, like, if you compare it to its, like, main competitor, the heavy autocannon, right, both of them have 800 range, but the heavy mass driver has, we go from 0.9 efficiency to 0.7. That's a big jump. And then on top of that, it's got better accuracy. And normally all of that would come with a much lower DPS, but it's only lower by 14. So it's pretty close. And when you factor in the accuracy, a lot of the time it's actually going to do more DPS. You know, the main thing is, of course, just the extra... Oh, of course. Thanks, game. Yes, I do want to go to the outer jump point that's far away from everything. Thank you. Like, the ordnance point cost is supposed to make up the difference, but apparently it's not enough. Even though it is a pretty big difference. Have you tried second in command? I touched it a little bit. I've looked at some of the things, and man, there's definitely a way to break it. I can just, ooh, looking at some of the skills, I can just feel it. Like, there's definitely, if you take the right couple of, like, different trees, and you pick the right skills from them, you can absolutely, like, break some stuff. Like, I do believe that there is one of the trees gives you something that they've stopped adding in vanilla, which is flat armor to your armor reduction. So it might be like, you know, plus 100 armor for the purposes of armor calculations. And that on its own doesn't sound great, because if you've got 2,000 armor, getting plus 100, it's like, you know, it's okay. But the thing is, because it's not actual armor, it can't be stripped off. So when your armor is stripped off, you still get that plus 100. And that makes your hull tanking so much better. And I'm pretty sure there's a skill in there that does that. So if you can combine that with some other, with like skills from another tree that improve your hull tanking, or give you repair or something, you could definitely break it. So I haven't gone too far into second in command, but, well, we'll see. Just missing the voiceover? Yeah. Yeah, still haven't done that. I'll get it done this week. I mean, I was only really out here so I could pick up missions, right? But we'll see. Wait, how am I here, but there's no missions? I'm in your space. Give me a job. You owe me a job. You know, I didn't go to college in sectoronomics just that you could tell me that I don't get a job. So I should probably, you know what, I have not been thinking about this, but I really should be getting new weapons for this thing. Okay, how am I going to do this? probably just going to upgrade this to... No, I want high-intensity laser because it's the flux efficiency. Guess I'll leave it like that for now. I should probably visit Tritachyon to do that. How much reputation am I going to get? 0. Oh, 10% reputation. Right. So they give you less reputation gain and less bounty value than Tritachyon. What a scam. Maybe... We'll see. I don't know what this is, but I'm going to buy it. You want me to disrupt the spaceport? No. I mean, it did say Lost Atropolis, so that's probably not that hard, but no. I choose not to. So, these are built in. Photon shielding. That's a lot of numbers. I'm not going to read that. Probably wants... Oh, okay, so 60... 30. So this is a cruiser with 60 ordnance points and some built-in weapons. Crab cakes to defend its host ship. What am I listening to? And it has 3 large missiles. What is all this? It does look like... Yeah, I think the Oculian Hull reduces the ordnance point cost for weapons from the faction. So this is... Yeah, this is large missile for 7, large missile for 6. That's how you afford everything. Is you stick to the faction. The point defense is built in, the front... Let's see. We'll just get more glints. 2 ordnance points, yeah, look at that. A steal. A scam, even. Let's see, shield arc is 360, so if I go hardened shields, if I do that, no, maybe I can leave a gap in the back and just do that. How many deployment points is this thing? 15, so that's pretty expensive for a destroyer, but it's not a destroyer, right? It's a cruiser. What does this do? Yeah, we'll let them have an off. No, wait, I don't think I have an officer in this. So we'll just throw it up against one of those. What do you do? I guess that's a crab cake, then. Sorry, 3 Reaper Typhoons. I don't think you don't actually have enough ordnance points to do that, sadly. I mean, you could do 3 hammer barrages. So I guess that's an option. Well, that's interesting. So far, it does have the speed and shields that it can just get in and out safely. You know, that's a good start. But these missile weapons it's got aren't doing a whole lot of damage. Probably got to be a bit pickier with my options, but I just don't have any right now. I'm sure there's some way to break it if I get the right things. Well, you know, since it only has large missiles, and it's got it's got some point defense, but everything else is large missiles, so I don't think I actually need the targeting unit. Of course, I'm a genius. Instead, I'll get unstable injectors because the range penalty doesn't apply to missile weapons. I'll just get the speed. And as a wise man once said, we gotta go fast. Well, I guess we'll leave. Maybe they'll have some more jobs for us at the fringe. What's the torpedo in the shop? I don't know. Hopefully we'll find another one when we get there. Plenty of the ship is not automated when the faction is composed of AI. Well, they've got to make some concessions to make it function within the sector. Which begs the question, could you actually make a faction where they have all automated ships? Maybe if you make it so that all of their commanders get the automated ship skill? I mean, obviously Remnants exist as a faction, but they're kind of different from all the other factions. So I'm not sure I'm not sure you could just directly copy-paste them and just have the player interact with them normally. Let's see, this thing. What do? Okay, apparently they don't have any large missiles. That's a shame. Seeing a lot of freighters. It's a battle cruiser for... So I'm seeing 35 deployment points for 224,000 credits. That's a pretty good rate. Like, a Conquest would be way more expensive than this. And a Retribution even is probably more expensive than this. But I think we're going to focus on one at a time here. Let's not get too carried away. I'm still just dragging these around. You know what? I should just start a colony. Unless, if I haven't already. I have not. Let's get some people. Let's look at our planet options. Class 5, you say? It does have 3 resources. Hazard rating, 175, not great. 100%, here we go. Poor light, but habitable. Farming is -1, but you've got decent mining and organics. What does the system look like? 1 stable location. We could make another with some story points. We do have an alpha core, so we can do that. I mean, it's not the best place, but it's alright. On the other hand, let's see, do we have any vast ruins? No, I haven't found any. Okay. Yeah, I think the best place to start would be here if I want to make a colony. Don't think I found any particularly... Oh, there we go. There's a mission. We'll do both of these. Then we'll do these, get our reputation up, then we'll worry about colonies. Damn, the asteroid clearly slowed me down way more than it slowed them down. This is a scam. What if Void Blaster had Mining Blaster AI? I mean, some people have argued that it does enough to that its DPS is just so high that it can overwhelm shields in the right circumstances, but it's one of those things that seem like it should just hold its charges until the enemy is close to overloading, which is... I think the Mining Blaster only fires if the shields are actually down, normally. But it still might be better to do that, regardless. Oh, you know what? This is actually a decent place. For a military base and refining. Low gravity's alright. Other than that, though, it's... yeah. Yeah, I mean, it would be a lot better if it also had transphotonics. What's the system like? Yeah, maybe I'd consider if it had like a gate in the system, but no. Mining Blaster and IR Auto Lance do fire at shields, but only if they're at full charges. But that's kind of like the thing that's special about the Void Blaster, is that its DPS is high enough that it can kind of overwhelm shields with the burst fire. You know, if you put 3 of them, like, and when I say that, I mean, like, if you have, like, expanded magazines and 3 of them on an Eagle, it can do that. So it's very contextual in that sense. But then again, it's like the AI can take manual control of weapons, right? It doesn't just put everything on auto fire. It can choose a weapon group and manually fire it. So maybe the solution is to like use that. Give the Void Blasters more of a the Mining Blasters AI for auto fire, but make it so the AI automated, like your other ships in your fleet will manually control them more often. Something like that. That could work. Let's get some fuel. Get some fuel and get out of here. I probably actually don't need that much volatiles. So stick to 30. Another one. I think I'll ignore that. How's our reputation coming along? We're up to a 4. Wowza. That's crazy. Okay, we'll go up to some of these other planets and get more fuel, because I'm not happy with the amount we have. Thank you, one cooler guy. I love lobster. Oh, wait, you did actually get it. Nice. Yeah, I think I still want more fuel. More. I need more antimatter. Excellent. Just as the Founding Fathers intended. What are your guys' favorite songs from the soundtrack? Was I saying Soundtractor Star Sack? What was I about to say? Star Sector soundtrack. Well, pardon my language. Yeah, who ups starring the soundtrack? Sound Sector Star Sack. Personally, I actually just really like the main menu music, to be honest. Like, there are some good soundtracks, like the hyperspace music is fine enough, but it doesn't really speak to me. Whereas the main menu music with, like, the brass, the horns, something about it feels very... You just open up the game and it feels like something epic is about to go down. It gave me a very good first impression when I booted up the game for the first time. Chic sound on my sector till I start track. Well, whoa. Now let's not get any crazy ideas here. Philip Andrade gas station manager hostile. Well, that's not vanilla. But it could well be very good. Skedaddle on down here. Now that burned through a lot of supplies. And I'd do it again. The threat one? Yeah, I do remember liking the threat one and feeling like it fits the vibe really nicely of what they're going for. But I also can't really remember it. Maybe I just haven't heard it enough. But I can't, like, picture the song in my head the way that I can with some of the other tracks. Imagine the horror of a missile Invictus with fast missile racks. 2.5 Pegasi. Well, thank you for Spore Cool. Invictus with fast missile racks. But then, what? You'd either have to give up canister flak, which honestly was probably not too bad because you can just give it a bunch of devastators. But, oh wait, do you mean, when you say missile Invictus, do you mean like the large ballistics at the front replaced with large missiles? Oh, I think that's what you mean. 2.5. That would... All 10. Oh, I see. All 10 large missiles. What's this Flux problems you've been telling me about? Flux? I've hardly even met her. Missile weapons all the way, baby. Domain error probe, heart of the system. That should be easy enough to find, and then we can go down there. Beautiful. I'll take my volatiles. Yeah, I guess I'll survey these systems, it's fine. I bet in a few decades people will say Star Sector lore embodies the fear of AI and from our time. I wonder about that. Because there are definitely, like, AI is a very common theme in science fiction. And I would say that a lot of other ones have been a lot more fearful of AI than Star Sector does. There's a lot of sci-fi that portrays it in a much more negative light. And that is with including the tendency of the Radiance 2, of the Remnant, to just sat-bomb entire planets. It's hardly as bad as it gets. So I don't know if people would single out Star Sector in that way. Oh yeah, Cletus, you're right. That is one of the best lines in the game. The first AI war or the second? And then they just look at you, and they're like... they don't say it, but it's immediately clear what the implication is of, like, these people fought in the first one. And so as soon as you ask them, like, the first one or the second, they're like, second? God damn it. Although, as far as I'm aware in the lore, the first one was a lot more destructive than the second one. This message has been screened by Voltron security forces. Glory to Andrada. Glory to the leader, the Lion of Centria. AI War 1 and 2 are really good games. If they're so good, then why have I never heard of them before? Checkmate. Yeah, the second one was about AI in name only. Well, I think that's probably, like, the second one was more about policy surrounding AI, where the first one actually involved AI, to my understanding. Like, all of the remnants that you see were built and fought in the first AI war. Whereas the second one, Tritachyon fought using human ships, and it was just about, you know, fighting back against policies regarding AI. Also, would giving Mark 9 better XC be a needed buff in your opinion? If yes, by how much? I don't think it needs a buff. I don't think so. I think it's doing all right. It's usually not your... I mean, it's a very easy option that you can fit onto a lot of ships, but it's also rarely the best option, but I think that's fine for just a standard autocannon. If we start buffing everything too much, then we kind of get lost in the sauce. And I think that the Mark 9 being a slightly cheaper option, like it's cheaper than a high-intensity laser, and it comes in with like good DPS, good range, for a cheap cost, and high hit strength, so it's good against hull, but has an accuracy issue. You know, I think that's a good place to have it. Gives it an identity. Like, people didn't like the Hephaestus Assault Gun for a while, and then it got a significant accuracy buff, and then a very small flux buff, and suddenly it's really good. I advocate turning it into a shotgun, +1 burst size and reduced refire delay, but even worse accuracy. I mean, that sounds like you're just making a different weapon. So I like part of the Alex just wouldn't do that, because part of the way the autocannons work is that like when you have the small options, you have the single shot, you have the double shot, and then when you move up to the medium options, you get a triple shot, and then the large option is a 4-shot. So the Mark 9 is always going to fire in bursts of 4, because if he made it 5, or he made it 6, or if he changes it at all, then it kind of breaks that trend. And I don't think he would do that. But a shotgun would be kind of cool. It's just that he would probably introduce that as like a new threat weapon or something. Right, we've got the light mass driver and the heavy mass driver, so he'd probably just be like, here's the super heavy mass driver. It shoots out, it's a shotgun version for a large slot. That's what he would probably do. Nice, baited him into revealing more esoteric Star Sector knowledge. I mean, you could just ask. But then again, if you don't know what the answer is, how can you ask the right questions? UAF, Iron Shell, and Meister Navy all have shotgun weapons. That makes sense. It would be a popular idea, because shotguns are very cool. Already have an HE shotgun. Does the kinetic want to overlap too much? I mean, not really. Like, we've got a... It's kind of like saying, you know, Graviton and high-intensity laser are both beam weapons. One's kinetic, the other's high explosive, but... You know, they're... Yeah, the beam mechanics are more or less the same, but they're different enough in other ways. Different, like, kinetic, you know, damage type being one of them, but also, like, slot size. And when it comes to like when it comes to projectile weapons, you have a lot more room for variance in like the firing pattern, whereas beam weapons, they're all kind of don't really get a lot of variance there. Speaking of, you know what would be kind of cool? A kinetic phase lance. That would be really good at like overloading the enemy system with soft flux in a large burst, but significantly worse at armor penetration, which is normally what the phase lance is good for. That could be interesting. I'm seeing a lot of level 5s out here. Anyone want to bring me a level 7? I mean, I do have one, but I want more. It's another level 5. Come on now. What am I even here for? Right. That. Shoe. Go away. More fighters. Okay. Tick Elite Fighter. Cancer Drone. Well, I hope they're talking about the star sign. Or, you know, maybe if they just shoot cancer rays at the enemy. Depleting combat readiness. Oh, nothing, really. Lame. Man, there's a lot of stuff here. It's all this random garbage. Kinetic phase length is basically the Juno from the Armature mod. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, I guess they would be good on the Nova, right? Because they're like the Nova can already use like 4 phase lances to kind of overwhelm enemy shields pretty quickly. So if you had a kinetic version, it would do that even better. And then you know, you use the large weapons for like giga cannons. I mean, it could just be... You don't need to get too fancy with it. You could have, like, you could just say it's a concentrated graviton beam if you want to be lazy about it. It's a graviton... It's in the same way that you've got, like, the pulse laser and the auto-pulse laser that stores up charges. You could have, like, the graviton beam and the super graviton beam that has a big energy capacitor that uses to store up a lot of energy for a big burst. Oh, right. No, I do have that. Okay. Right, yeah, I've got to change this. There we go. And here I thought I didn't have that. I forgot. I do have that. Let's survey the Nameless Rock. Let's get our... Yeah, threat detected. We out here detecting threats. You better believe it. This is useless. This would be good. That's good. What else would I want? No, I think that, yeah, these are probably the 7 skills that I would want to prioritize. I don't think I'm going to integrate it, because I'm not convinced I'm going to keep this for the end game, but... Right, and you know, that being the case, I'd like to pull out the Alpha Core. For now, this is fine. Let's let the old man recover a little bit. You know, let him get greased up. You know, he's got a little arthritis. His joints ain't feeling too good. So let him take him up for a walk a little bit. You know, stretch his legs. It's been a while. We getting unfabricated with this one. Yeah. You should unfabricate yourself now. Wow, thank you, Threat. Very cool. Yeah, that's probably why they're called Threat. It's not because they're threatening. It's because they constantly spew out threats. Yeah, let's throw out some frigates with it. Let's see, the armor looks like it's intact. It's just the hull that's mostly missing. But then also it has combat endurance, so it's going to continue repairing. Nice. Defense orders, they don't separate too much. Oh yes, the assault unit. Going right for the kill, huh? And you need to focus. Or should I kill that instead? Well, you gotta kill one. Man, when frigates explode on top of your own ships, it is a real shame, huh? No, no, no. I'm telling you to go... Don't ignore me. Come on. Go downwards. I forgot. I think... So someone did suggest changing the front Devastator changes the AI. And in my last run, that did seem to work. But yeah, the assault unit's the biggest threat here. The other stuff, not as much. Bro, you missed. Where are you aiming? That's just embarrassing. The biggest success changing the front to Mjolnir? Well, that's probably overkill. Flux-wise. Unless you're going with like the heavy machine gun setup, then maybe you could afford that. But yeah, it's just so flux restricted that I would probably not jump to the Mjolnir. Go after those overseer units. It does look like the... Okay. So... I think pretty clearly it used its lash to boost the swarms, right? I don't even know what that does. I don't think it's on the wiki. But it did use its ability on the swarm. Just keep a note of that. There should be a hull mod for phase and shieldless ships that makes them take 90% less damage from death explosions. That could actually be nice, yeah. Just taking reduced damage specifically from the explosions of ships. I can see that. Get him, old man. Man, it's so nice to just be able to throw frigates out there and let them die. Because you have hull restoration. I mean, later on in the game that's still true, because even without hull restoration, because they're just so cheap to restore, but... Even then, even if you have infinite money, you still have to go back to like a... You still have to go back to some kind of port where you can restore them, whereas hull restoration, you can just keep doing missions and they'll fix themselves. Would love to have a mod where it makes the threat talk throughout the fight, entire fight with audio. You know, somebody ring up the guy who's in charge of, what's it called? Combat chatter. That's the one. Hull restoration is less OP in second in command, by the way. Yeah, I'm pretty... So, from what I remember, it looks like in second in command, there's a clear separation... Bro, what are you shooting at? A clear separation between the commanders who give you combat skills versus the ones that give you logistic skills. They're not mingled together. I'm new, but see people often skip the yellow line of skills, but really like hull restoration. Yeah, well, both of the options, both of the capstones on the industry tree are really good. For like 90% of the game. Well, derelict operations is just good for the entire game. But it also means running around with D-mods, and a lot of people don't want to do that because they want peak performance out of their ships rather than to overwhelm the enemy with numbers. Even though the number strategy is very effective. It's just like, yeah, it's orange. Gross. Right, that's people's reaction. But this one is good for the entire game, and by itself makes it worth going into the industry tree. Hull Restoration is good for like 95% of the game, up until you get to the end game and your fleet is already maxed out and you have a ton of money. At that point, for the most part, you can just afford to restore any losses anyways. You can recover your ships pretty easily and then just pay to restore them because you have enough money. At which point, Hull Restoration becomes a lot less useful. But, you know, that's way at the end of the game. For 95% of the game, it's really good. Yeah, and at that point, when you get to that point, you can respec out of Hull Restoration. Which is something that I do a lot. Well, let's go get our money, I suppose. Tally-ho, boys. Let's go collect our cash. Yeah, with crew training it also gives 100 combat readiness. Yeah. You can grab both and then... I'm wondering if... Support Doctrine... I wonder if Support Doctrine actually works better with Hull Restoration or Derelict Operations. You know, maybe what I should do... I'll think about this, but maybe when I get, maybe for the next stream of this run, I should increase the deployment point limit above 240, which is probably not going to be good for my computer, but it could lead to some very interesting battles. Because things change a bit when you pass a certain point where, like, a lot of skills like crew training have a soft cap at 240, but then some skills like Hull Restoration don't. So below 240, they both give you the same amount of combat readiness, but when you get over 240, Hull Restoration always gives 15%, and this starts decreasing. So suddenly, Support Doctrine and Hull Restoration both become really, really good because they just apply to all of your ships. Fun fact, you can get the full payment from Old Mate if you don't try and push for money at any point. He will just give you it all. Old Mate? Who's Old Mate? Why do you have to keep giving away your entire checking account? You won't be able to pay your water bills. That's a good question for a cool guy. There are many theories in this community. A lot of speculation. The guy you're working... Oh, so you mean Old Mate. You mean, use his name, Cornelius Elec, one of the most well-respected characters in this space opera here. Everyone loves Cornelius Elec. You've got to call him by his full name, Cornelius Elec. You can't just call him the old slot guy. It's disrespectful. He's one of the deepest, most profound characters in the entire story. Can't reduce him to just... Do you think I remember that? I would expect you to remember that. It is the Cornelius Elec. Cornhole Elk. Close enough. I'm sure he wouldn't mind being called that. After all, he's a very flexible guy. Very understanding. Sir Cornelius Alec, yes. Good morning. Well, how... Destiny 37. Good morning to you. Cornflakes. Cornholio Alex. Yeah, because I've always thought it was funny when I'm reading the patch notes for the new patch, and it's like talking about how there's like an extended quest line with Cornelius Alec. And I'm like, who? It's like the guy that you give the data core to. We're supposed to remember his name? So I decided to remember his name because I think that's really funny. His name is Cornelius Alec, the most important character in the story, and don't you forget that. You said he gives you the money. He didn't. One shot at life. Your parents name you Cornelius. It's so over. You can't freak him out. Oh. I guess I freaked him out too much. I'm a little bit of a freak. I got 1 rating with an Alpha Core and automated ship. Why does he low combat readiness? Well, I can answer that for you. If we go to the skill, you have 120 automated ship points. So a Radiant uses up 60 by itself, but if you put an Alpha Core in it, it gets multiplied by 4. Which means that it's using up 240. Twice the normal, twice the limit. But it's a soft cap. So the more you go over the limit, the lower the combat readiness is. As long as you have crew training, and you give the Alpha Core combat endurance, it should sit at 50% combat readiness, which is enough that it doesn't suffer any penalties. Actually, this is something that I was surprised by in the Brawl King tournament, is a lot of people used, like, Gamma Cores for their Radiants. A lot of people used, like, they didn't use Alpha Cores, they used Gamma Cores, and I don't really know why. I thought that this would be more common knowledge, but it seems like people are using, you know, they're using their Gamma Cores so that they have 100% combat readiness. But you can just use an Alpha Core, and sure, 50% isn't as great as 100%, but you get 4 extra skills. And I think 4 extra combat skills has got to be worth more than the 10% bonus you get from maxed out combat readiness. Right? That makes sense, right? Like, it does seem people are a little scared to just take the hit to combat readiness, but I think for the extra 4 skills, it's got to be worth it. Because combat readiness just it's like 10% damage, 10% damage reduction, and 10% speed. But you can get more than that just from 3 skills, right? If you got those extra skills, well, now you can take, you know, helmsmanship, field modulation, target analysis. I mean, maybe you took those already, but you also want systems expertise. And then you also want impact mitigation so you don't get screwed over by EMP damage. And this is, ordnance expertise is really good, and energy weapon master is really good. So next thing you know, you've got 6 skills. You're probably going to need combat endurance to make it all work. Although then again, I think in Brawl King you don't, because you have crew training and hull restoration, so you can skip that and still have 50%. But yeah, you can do a lot. Like yeah, I think an Alpha Core is worth it, even though it does cost you some combat readiness. If you want to stretch it, even 40% is fine. Yeah. Yeah, like, you don't get malfunctions until you go below 40, but you do... The difference between 40% and 50% is you do start suffering some penalties to your stats. And I'm not sure it's worth it at that point. Yeah, that's something I've been thinking, Podsky, is maybe people thought you needed to stay under 120 and that you weren't allowed to go over 120, but that's one possibility, and the other possibility is that they think they need 100% combat readiness. What's your favorite mod, and why is it settings.json? My favorite mod, of course, is Big Brain Expansion, because I made that one. It's only got one ship, but I made that ship. It's like a son to me. I think that's just barely enough that I could go get a commission from them now. But I think what we're going to do first is we're going to get some fuel, and we're going to go down to the bottom left here, because we can do these missions and start up a colony down there. I mean, the colony being on the opposite side from the faction that we're trying to commission is a little annoying. But we can always go set up a wormhole or something. You know, we can visit. Right? This is actually... Wait, hold on. It was... Where exactly was this planet? How close was it? Terran eccentric, this guy. Yeah, it's pretty close to the abyss. So it connects as a staging point for that. Being able to refuel right here and then dive into the abyss is convenient. And then we can grab the stuff that we need from there, set up a wormhole, connect it. Well, we could connect it to a gate. Wait, do these guys have gates? Not in this one. And... no, they don't have gates. Well, I could dismantle some of their architecture and just set up a wormhole over there, and then connect it to a gate system. Something like that. But we'll worry about that infrastructure in a minute. Here, buy my crap. Thank you. I'm going to keep some of this. You can have that. You're welcome. I am out of supplies. Yeah, I think I'm going to want a little bit more before I set out. Let's head over to the Citadel. Wait, no, it's only in size 4. Yeah, let's go. Let's be a little reasonable. Let's go to Eventide instead. What if you can improve capstone skills like you can improve colony and industries to story points? So it'd be low, but you double each time. That would be interesting. I mean, that sounds kind of like an extension of elite skills, but instead of for combat skills, it's for capstones. So I could get sensors, but also I could get gunnery implants, because I am piloting a frigate, and I'd get that 4% ECM, which is okay. It's not bad. Because either way, the real prize is flux circulation. And once I get electronic warfare, how important is this really? On the other hand, I could grab energy weapon mastery to prepare for the inevitable high-tech ship that I'm going to pilot. Whatever it might be. You know, it's been a while since the Odyssey. Maybe I should do the Odyssey. I mean, I'd have to lucky enough to actually find one, but could do that. I can always respec later, so I guess I'll do sensors for now. Stick to the fleet-wide bonuses. Yeah, let's just get our... Wait, is this it? That is not as much as I was expecting. I mean, I know it's not a military world and all, but... Yeah, for size 7, I was just expecting a little more. Guess we'll go over to Sphinx. Oh, well, fine. Inspect me. That's what I thought. Yeah, that's a lot more fuel. Supplies, still not super impressed, but whatever. Yeah, I've been burning through tons of fuel to lug around. So, something to keep in mind. Mothballing ships. You don't pay supplies, but you still gotta pay the fuel to get them around. And these things are like, especially this thing's a gas guzzler. And I've just been dragging it around instead of storing it. Mostly because if I store it at the free storage in the core world, they'll forget about it, and that'll be a problem. But it's about time I start a colony, because I'm not going to forget where that is. Let's go. Odyssey would fit the theme with the Hyperions. Yeah, it would also fit in with the legions. Right, because then we could have like 1 Cyclops, 1 Legion, and then the Odyssey, and that would give us 8. Exactly. 8 fighter bays. The perfect number. And then I guess I'll try to make everything else in the fleet Aculian. See what... Man, I am all the way down to 64,000, really. I am burning through cash. Damn. I'm going to set up some farming. We're going to make some of that money back. Can I get a small loan of 1,000,000 credits? I mean, that would be very legitimate for John Starsector to ask, because he seems to know how to make better investments than the people in the core worlds. Yeah. Big brain energy's alternate eagle. Eagle? Ego. Small wallet energy. Colony, what is my purpose? You make me money. Hell yeah. Are you taking concept ideas for your mod? I mean, sure, if you've got them. When they adding stocks to Starsector, need to buy Tritech. Oh boy, that would be something. But I think one of the problems you can have with adding too many different options and too many different mechanics is it's just very overwhelming for new players. But a cool solution to that is to sort of gatekeep those mechanics behind other mechanics. A good example would be, you could add a stock trading system to Starsector, but you don't get to access it unless you have like a contact who's like a stockbroker. That way, as a new player, you don't even encounter it, but as an advanced player, you know that you need to make this specific kind of contact to access this new mechanic. Probably not something that would be added, but... I mean, like, it's... I don't know, it seems too passive as a way to make money. But then again, colonies exist, so... Commissions exist. For max immersion, I need a quest revolving around a Tritech crypto rug pull. What you need are contacts who try to rope you into their harebrained crypto scheme. Like, dude, you've got to buy now. Alright, this new coin is going straight to the moon. And then you ask, what's the moon? This ain't Earth, bucko. I've never heard of this moon. Luna? Never heard of her. Here, buy Tricoin now. You know, it's going straight to the moon. Well, it depends on which moon you're talking about. Are we talking about Opus? Because, yeah, that didn't go very well for the people there. I mean, I can't call it Arrakis. That's a desert. What would I call this place? I don't know. It's going to be a lot of drugs, so why don't we call it New Amsterdam? Makes sense to me. Nah, let's call it not Arrakis. Yeah, great name. Netherlands mentioned. When the British take it from you, they'll call it New York. Well, the solution there is simple. Just kill the British. The flower-looking flag? I think that one yeah, that's the flower, as far as I can tell. Nard Bond. Bond's name. Name's the James. Name's Bond having just drunk. The Nard Bond. Yeah, I think we'll go with that. Does New Amsterdam have a red light district? Probably. I don't worry about the day-to-day details of the goings-ons down there. It's not my problem, really. Damn, I don't even have enough to do that? That's embarrassing. Well, for starters, let's leave these guys here, because they're a drain on resources. Then we can go do these missions and get some cash right away. Get a little injection. But yeah, it's only 100% hazard rating. We can immediately do farming. I mean, it's not great farming, but it is farming. Yeah, -1. What are my colony items? I haven't really... Oh yeah, these are... Yeah, best for no atmosphere, but... No atmosphere, extreme heat would be good for these, but... The Hollow Deal Maker Suite. Now that could work. Once I get the drug industry going. I should probably also survey these, because these are going to be extreme heat. Nope. Not that one. God, I wish LiDAR Array Mule was real. Now that's an idea. And this could be alright later on. Is a military base with mining. The only problem is toxic atmosphere doesn't allow catalytic core, which is kind of the problem with these volcanic worlds. Ideally, we'll just find a no-atmosphere world with extreme heat in a gate system. It shouldn't be too hard. Yeah, farming is cheap and produces a bunch. It is a good starting industry. And there goes money. Would like a commission, please. Which means I'm going to have to fly all the way back up. This is fine. I mean, look at that. That's actually pretty good. This is one of the, right, no atmosphere for catalytic core, extreme heat for the cryarithmetic engine, and then mining will get rares, moderates, and trace volatiles. Extensive ruins are even not bad if you want to do tech mining. This is a pretty good planet. And it's right next door, too. Beautiful. Yeah, I guess I'll survey these other guys. Can't hurt. See, this one's not even bad, but this one's even better. You know, trace volatiles is actually really nice. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Honestly, that could save, like that alone means that this planet kind of... Because normally what happens is you have to colonize a barren world for, like, to use your synchrotron core and all that. But then you don't have volatiles, so you have to colonize a third world to get that. But in this case, that saves me the trouble. It's not a lot of volatiles, but just the fact that it's there is good enough. Phase destroyers are in a weird spot right now, because there's only one in game. Would love to hear your thoughts on that. Yeah, I mean, it would be nice to have more phase destroyers. Because right now we're just... all we've got is the Harbinger, and... Man, it's very volatile as a ship. Someone did a little statistical analysis on the whole tournament and found that it does actually perform above average. Like, it's doing well. But a lot of the times people who run it in-game complain about it. Now, maybe it's like they just don't have the right builds for it, partly. But I think part of it is just that when it gets stuck, it just kind of dies. And the AI is not very good at getting out of tough situations. But it's effective. But despite that, like, on average, it's going to be effective because it just has such great damage output for its cost. So you end up with a result where, like, in tournaments it's going to be good because, like, the math works out in its favor. But it's annoying to use because it dies for stupid reasons. Yeah, we're just going to fight you. Ooh, we've got... Look at that. See, one of the nice things about this is it's a lot cheaper to deploy. 50 deployment points, 20 supplies. Compare that to all of these other ships. Very nice. I think I will use the Hyperions, though. Let's get this over relatively quick. Go Princess, yeah. Oh, I don't think I've named it yet. I mean, I'm pretty sure I named it Princess last time, so I probably got to come up with something else. Or we could just stick with we could stick with calling it Princess every time. Not the worst idea. I mean, look at that. Centurions, really not bad at all. You know, you take safety overrides to make up for the low speed, and then you can go in with double machine guns for kinetic damage and an antimatter blaster. It's a pretty solid ship. These, like, remember, these things don't have officers. They're just showing up as themselves. Imagine what kind of power they could wield with an officer. But maybe the world isn't ready for that. Harbinger looks like a great player-driven ship, but... Yeah, it definitely is. Yeah, because a lot of the problems that the AI runs into, you just don't run into. But it's like, is it that much stronger than an Inflictor? I mean, it can do more damage because of its weapon slots, but it also takes longer to get around the battlefield because it's significantly slower. So, over the course of the battle, the Inflictor kind of keeps up just because it's faster. And because also because its ability is easier to use, there's a longer window of opportunity. I think typically what people do if they want to fly the Harbinger themselves is they usually do a neural link, and they fly both an Inflictor and a Harbinger. So you kind of get the best of both worlds there, and you can use Neuralink's ability to just, like, every time you switch, it kind of resets the cooldown on your abilities. Well, not every time. There's a cooldown on that cooldown resetting ability, but, you know, you can use it to, like, double up on the abilities a little bit. That's clever? Yeah. Yeah, if you want to get clever, that's a good way to a good start for it. Take Neuralink, take phase coil tuning, and link together an Afflictor with a Harbinger, because then you can switch to the Harbinger. You switch to the Afflictor, target the ship that you want to kill. You hit it with your entropy amplifier, and then you can start charging up your antimatter blasters. Right, you can choose to fire them, and then during the charge time, you pause. Switch over to the Harbinger and activate the Quantum Disruptor. So then both the Afflictor and the Harbinger can fire in that window with the Entropy Amplifier active as well. Takes a little practice, but if you can time that right, it's very deadly. Tournament Part 2 when? Should be ready for next week. How's the Brawl Kings video coming along? It's coming along. I haven't done too much, to be honest, but I will be able to. I will get it done this week, so it should be ready like next weekend. And then, depending on how much work gets done on Part 3, we might even get it we might even get the next 2 parts back to back. What a utopia that would be. Society if Brawl King came out every week would be I mean, we'd have flying cars by now if that was true. The yawn slot? Implying the onslaught is boring. That's a first. SMod Neuralink plus Doom equals infinite minds. I mean, sometimes it feels like you have too many minds just with systems expertise. Where it's like, it just recharges so fast and you have so many capacities that it's like, hard to run out. Poor Yanfo got counted so hard in both tournaments. Yeah, in the first tournament he didn't have too much luck. I'm not sure I'd say he's countered in the second tournament so much as his fleet is just generally very vulnerable. It's not like he was hard countered. It's not like, damn, my one weakness. It's more like he made a fleet with that's a lot more on the flashier side rather than the practical side. Do you think Fractal Softworks will make Threat and Shroud invade the Abyss later on? Message retracted. Invade the Abyss. I don't know, because I'm not sure how much they're willing to shake up the status quo of the sector. I mean, I know there's going to be some kind of endgame, but is that going to be for every faction, or is it just going to be like Remnants and Omega specifically? How far are they willing to go with that? It's not clear. I'm curious what missing niche there is in the game you're aware of. Well, you could definitely make new ships that fill new kinds of roles, but I think like the basic stuff is mostly covered. Mr. Last Roman. But you could say like, well, you know, why isn't there like a midline ship that uses low-tech defenses but with high-tech weapons? So like a fast ship with energy weapons but heavily armored. Is that like a new niche that like really needs to be filled? Probably not, but it is kind of a cool concept that's just not there right now. And of course you could also do the reverse. You know, a slow ship with like a ship that's slow and uses ballistic weapons but has light armor and instead relies on shields. And you could make these like midline. Or you could make them into like some kind of new faction in the same way that Threat is like a new faction. But then again, these sound more like, I'm talking more like human designs generally. So if we're looking at like the human landscape, then these would probably fit into midline. Although I guess you could make an argument that they'd make more sense as like a pirate retrofit of something. I meant the sector, Midam. Oh, you didn't mean invading the abyss. You meant invading the sector. But yeah, I think what I said still kind of stands. What am I going to use these on? Well, this one has missiles, so I guess we'll throw you there, and this one, I can throw you on that. Good enough. Okay, do I have enough money to buy farming? Yes. I'm gonna be in debt pretty soon, but yes, I can. Take Freeport. I think we're gonna do... Yeah, this is gonna be a Ludic colony for the most part. So we'll start with farming, then we'll do light industry, then commerce. And then when we get to size 6, I'll probably... At that point, I'll probably build mining. Because it does have organics. It's got all 3 in decent numbers. I mean, honestly, these things are good enough that mining immediately would be kind of nice, but... I think we'll wait till size 6 to benefit from Ludic majority as long as possible. Alright, let's head up over here and get ourselves a commission. Because I could use a little bit more cash. The endgame enemy will be a domain reclamation armada. I mean, that is one direction that they could go. Psych, the collapse actually was just within this sector. The rest of the domain is totally still standing. Which, I mean, part of the domain's entire strategy was the idea that sectors were dependent on the gate system for resupply. Like, that's part of the domain strategy, is that rebellious sectors could just be cut off from the gate system, and then they would be screwed. So you can't really rebel in that situation. And considering that Lud was a sort of rebellious figure, a sort of anti-establishment, and he came from this sector, cutting off the gates might not be some accident. It might be a punishment that they're inflicting on the sector because of Lud and the Ludic movement. And so we're sitting, so you know, we might be here sitting and thinking that the whole domain collapsed, but it might actually be that the domain is fine. And they're just trying to starve us out because of some anti-domain sentiments here. The domain when the Star Federation doesn't need their gate system for reliable LTL. I mean, if you want to break the lore, then, yeah, throw in a few modded factions. I mean, it's clearly not working out right. Well, we're certainly doing a lot worse in this sector than we would have been otherwise. Like, 200 years have passed, and very little technological progress has been made. If anything, there's been technological regression within the sector, whereas the domain at large could easily have progressed 200 years in the last 200 years. So maybe we're going to reconnect with the outer domain and find that they just have better technology now. All of their stuff is just better now. By 200 years. So sure, maybe they didn't starve out the sector, but they sort of shut off its progress for long enough that, you know, they can open things up and easily crush the sector. Don't always need to win in the more direct way possible. But then again, for all of that, I think the counterpoint would be that 206 years seems like a long time for this kind of game plan. I mean, the Federation would fit decently well in Star Sector Verse as an anti-domain rebellion that lasted because they managed to invent their own spin-off FDL. Ah, okay. I get it. Yeah, if you wanted to include a like a competing faction, then having their own FTL system that doesn't rely on the gates, that would be the way to do it, yeah. I like the idea that we're just stuck in this sector while the domain is just gig advanced now. Well, yeah, that's like a possibility. Is that that's their strategy, is to just cut you off, continue developing, and then open up again, and they're just so far ahead that they can easily crush you. It is kind of an expensive idea, though, because it does mean that you have to cut people off for like 200 years to pull it off. But it would work. At least from everything we've seen in Star Sector, it points to that concept working. Hostile to... Oh, good. They're hostile to half the sector. Actually, they're hostile to the majority of the sector. The only major faction they're not hostile to is like the Persean League and the Syndran Diktat. So, yep, we're doing that now. Nice, very cool. Cookies. Honestly, now that I've seen these cookies, I'm kind of tempted to change my character to add in a picture of the Cookie Monster and just start shipping these things around. That would be a great gimmick, honestly. Probably better than any gimmick I've come up with before. What if the gatework collapsed, caused local time dilation, and barely a few minutes have passed outside of the Persean sector? That sounds kind of cool, but I do feel a little skeptical just because if you're talking about affecting such a large area of space. Like turning off the gates, inflicting a massive level of time dilation to this entire region of the Orion, not the Orion sector, but the Persean arm of the galaxy, seems like a bit of a stretch. Maybe if they were, like, I could buy that if they were doing that to just one planet. But it's a bit much. Big Girl Scout energy. And do it. No, I'd just name myself the Cookie Monster if I was going to do that. Or Cookie Man. Rename the faction to Girl Scout Cookies. I'll take the Thin Mints. They always want the Thin Mints. Yeah, I'm sitting on 2,300 credits. Barely a penny to my name. A real entrepreneur taking risks. Well, that should offset the expenses of just running my fleet. Or paying my crew anyways. And then factoring in the income from my colony. I mean, it's already making 2,500 just off of... like, domestic income. Throw in farming, it's going to get even better. But first, I have a few problems I need to fix. Oh, the accessibility is only 11%. That's pretty yucky. We've got to fix that. Well, that helps a lot. And then we can do Freeport to get more accessibility. Very interesting. And then if I can get more money, I can... Food processing plant. Huh. Talk your magic Ritalin-fueled space game words to me like Ritalin-fueled spaceman. I need that after getting murdered in iRacing Rookie Series. Well, I am going to do that, Flying Scoots. Thank you for showing up. And you say Ritalin fueled, but I'm not on Ritalin. But I probably should be. I'd be a lot more productive if I was... probably a lot more productive if I was on anything, really. Yeah, I'll have to make an appointment with my doctor. We'll see about that. Okay. What is the NOK USD conversion rate? That's a great question. All I know is the donation is yellow. Even if you're on productivity reducing substances? Yes, because you see, that would just motivate me more knowing that I'm on a reducing substance, right? You see? And then I would work twice as hard. It converts to about 10 bucks. That's 10 bucks more than I had before. I appreciate it. I heard you started playing Tower Dominion. Would you want to stream it? Did I mention that? I mean, yeah, I did play Tower Dominion. Consumed a fair bit of my time recently. Would you want to stream it? Yeah. I mean, I would be open to that. It's definitely got a little bit of that... Like, at first it's not obvious, but once you play it a little bit, you start to notice the 40k influences. Like, one of the characters, one of the general's abilities you can play as is, like, his ability is called, like, Hero of the Cladian Crusade. And he's very clearly holding a las pistol. It's like, I see you. I see devs. I see you. You're not fooling me. No, we live in your walls, we all know. Ah, that makes sense. Can you guys stop scratching? It's getting a little loud and it's interrupting my sleep. Also, ADHD meds are a life-changing thing for me, so I'm glad to hear your plan. I mean, I did get on some a very long time ago, actually, but the thing is, I think they kind of worked for like a week, and then they stopped doing anything for me, and then I just never really followed up on that. Sorry, I have dry skin. Not obvious, there are little tech priest commanders in there. Right, but you don't start with those unlocked, that's what I'm saying. Like, the first couple of commanders you start with aren't obviously 40k, but then there's one that you unlock, and it's like, that's just a tech priest, you're not fooling anybody. Are you into roguelikes? Noita's pretty fun. Yeah, roguelikes are really cool, and I actually have Noita. I bought it. I haven't played it yet, because I understand that it is a game for insane people with a lot of complexity. So I have not quite done that yet. Topography's coming along. Oh wow, we're at exactly 400 slipstream detection. Nice. Very cool. You know what? Getting hyperfield optimization would be nice. A game for the mentally unwell describes it perfectly. If that was true, it would be a lot more popular, I would say. I'm in the roof. The scratching isn't from me. Not me either. I'm at the window. Alright, well, whoever's scratching at the inside of the walls, they know who they are. And whoever's scratching in the inside of my skull, well, you know who you are. Have you tried the Ashes of the Domain mod? I actually haven't yet. Okay, hold on. Let me stop reading chat for a second so that I can figure out what I actually want to do next. Got to keep the Type A's happy. Because I've recently discovered the concept of Type A and Type B chatters, and it just makes so much sense. You know, the Lion of the North, once again, educating us primitives. Orange primary star. Let's see, rocky, unstable. Desert, barren. So this one. Okay. Let's go over there and see if we can do that fast enough. Type A's are like on a mission, backseating constantly. A, B, explain. So, the concept of Type A and Type B chatter is that Type A are more gameplay focused and Type B are more banter focused. So, like, if you stop playing the game to talk to your chat too long, Type A's are not going to be happy about that. But if you just focus on playing the game and don't really interact with chat too much, then Type B's wouldn't be really happy with that. Although, exactly the nuance there, I'm not really sure. Like, it does seem like some people are saying Type A's like a little bit further than what I was saying, like as in they backseat constantly. It's not just that they're gameplay focused, but like really into backseating. The only thing I retained from trying to learn about Noita from a while back, from one Maxer style video, is that Glimmer Spell where you shoot magic energy directly comes from 3 flavors: lean, gay, and improved CPU performance. Man, that just makes me think that when it comes to like new types of, like if sodas were being invented today, the names that they would come up with would just be so fucking insane. They'd be like, hey, check out the new Sprite, lean flavored, gay flavored, and CPU flavored. And the proof for this, by the way, is that they would actually do this because of like things like G Fuel, where they let, or not G Fuel, but like Gamersupps, where they let like YouTubers make the their own flavors and the names for their flavors, and they just come up with the most unhinged stuff and they just roll with it. Type B's are just silly little goobers. Silly little goobers are the best kind of goobers. Gay magic is best magic because it deals... I mean, when your magic wand is shooting out rainbows, it's pretty gay. Bonus damage to religious devotees. I guess it depends on what kind of religious devotees. Some churches are very... Like, there's a lot of variance in there are a fair amount of churches that are a lot more open about that stuff nowadays. Some of them to the point of even being heretical, saying like God isn't even like a real, like God, like taking a more abstract idea of God, which is just kind of like, okay, that's just not even, you know, it's one thing to be open towards this stuff, and it's another thing to just not even follow doctrine. Guys, you're not, sorry, you're not part of the club anymore. Okay, hold on. I would love a BP Noita series. Well, maybe I should do a series of me learning how to play Noita. That could be cool. The worst guide to Noita is the video. Love that video. Maybe I've seen that, because I have seen a couple Noita videos. All I know about Noita is that everyone carks due to silly magic. There's an ice cream called Golden Gay Time, and it's one of the most popular ones. Well, I guess Australia is just ahead of the curve on that one. That's probably one of the... But that, I would guess, is probably because it's old, and it's from a time when gay just meant happy. Like, in the 1930s, if you said, damn, bro, you're looking pretty gay, like, that wouldn't be a... they wouldn't think that you're calling them a homosexual, no. You're just saying that you look pretty happy. Kind of like the word jolly. Carbonated beverages today, CBT. Quench your thirst today with CBT. What would your G Fuel flavor be called? Or I mean, it would have to be, given that this is the gamer club, it would have to be something to do with, like, I'm tempted to say society flavored. And then you'd put like the Joker plastered all over the sides. Something like that. Oh, come on, Batsy. Would you get a load of this society over here? That's probably not my best work on that impression, but you get the idea. Gaylord, yeah, that used to be a name. Tell me Gays have bonus damage against Southern Baptists. Yeah, I mean, if you, I'm sure if you inspect their stats screen, it's in there somewhere. Deal less. Yes, recent patch, God has updated the universe. He's granted gays bonus damage against churchgoers, but as compensation, they do reduce damage to leprechauns due to their rainbow, because they have rainbow synergy. Play Noita, become sheep. Voltonian lobster flavor. Not a bad choice. There's no laws against the Pokemon, Batman. No, Joker. You can't do that. It's an animal Joker. Yes, we've all seen that, I'm sure. Man, these streams have to be unwatchable for Type A's, honestly. Partly because I just don't make mistakes. I'm perfect at this game, as we all know. But also just because I'm pausing so much to reach chat. I don't know, maybe if I pause and maybe if I just do that enough, I'll just drag them all away and it'll be like a Type B environment. Oh, come on, Batman. What's the harm, really? What are you worried about? It's just a Pokemon, Batman. Besides, look how happy it is. I'm sure you would agree there are no problems here. Type A, Type B. I thought C cables became standard. Whoa, that's getting a little too advanced for me. Type C? Good God, man. Are you looking to create anarchy? But yeah, the thing is, I guess from my perspective, I kind of don't get the point of watching a stream and being a Type A. Like if you're, because like if that's what you're looking for, I would just say watch YouTube videos. You can skip the parts where they're kind of like dicking around, or you can just like pick videos where people are just good at the game. Right? That's kind of where my brain would go. Like the unique advantage of streaming is the banter. Search for Northern Lion, the anatomy of a chatter. Ah, yes. I'm sure the librarian has well documented the ramblings of our modern-day Socrates. When's the next chat builds my fleet? I almost pissed myself laughing over the first one. Shield Shunt, High Scatter, Cockchair Paragon still haunts my dreams. That's a good idea. Maybe we should do that next week. I'll see if I can fit that into my schedule. Let's see if I can fit that into my schedule. Egg mentioned elite streamer for real. I mean, he's out here representing Canada. Gotta respect a fellow brother. Double Mjolnir Dominator? Yeah, that does seem to be what they're doing. And went about as well as you'd expect. Banter has a chance to -1 stress. It's bussin'. I knew it. Maple Leaf detected. You caught me red-handed. What can I say? Well, that Manticore is having a rough time. Its engines are out, and they are not recovering. It's just getting continually ass-blasted by that Medusa. Like, this Medusa's really kicking its ass. Oh, and then the Gauss cannons come in. From downtown, the Gauss Cannons come in and kick its ass. Let's get the Hyperions in there. Speed things up a little bit. I'm not doubting the old slot. I'm sure it can take on all of these clowns. But also, let's speed things up a little bit. Alright, Centurion. It's taken a while against these guys, but once we get the Hyperions in there, we'll be good. Oh, there's more. Okay, never mind. Maybe the old slot can't handle all of this. That's a lot. That is a lot, actually. Which of these is more dangerous? Probably the champion, actually. Cool. Never understand why herons try to fly in your enemies. And you gotta give them the right weapon setup. If you just give them point defense and a missile weapon, they won't. Hey BBE, sounds like I'm calling you baby weird. Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes I regret that acronym. But right now it is what it is. Maybe I'll change my channel name to Chadicus Rex or something. So that way people have to call me Chad. Which would be a very base move. It's like, haha, I've already named myself Chad and I've named you Soy. What are you going to do about it? How do you build the Atlas Mark II? Get focused down in about 3 seconds every time I fly one. It's a tough question, yeah. It is very fragile. Gauss cannon, like if you could try Gauss cannons and Hurricanes for like long-range fire support. Another approach would be to give it like unstable injectors and invest in the shields. So because like that can kind of give it more survivability, although, you know, the range penalty does mean it has to get a bit closer. But what you could do there is go with Squalls, because the Squalls then, as your anti-shield, are not affected by the range penalty. The only thing that's affected would be like the Hellbores you put in the large ballistics. That could be an approach. But yeah, it is going to be a bit tricky. One way or the other. Oh, you're still not done, huh? Okay, I've calmed down enough, Space Damage Man. I'm going to continue hurting myself in pretend motorsport. Have fun. Put something small fast and hits the gritty and then dies into your fleet. But if not, that's fine too. Well, we've got stuff that's small fast. Not dying fast, though. You know, Hyperions tend to survive. So you're just going to have to settle for 2 out of 3. Good luck with your fake sports on the internet, flying scoots. Canada is so real, by the way. Well, last time I checked, it wasn't fake. Not like France. Everyone who's ever told you about France is lying. It's not real. I've been there myself. The Eiffel Tower is just a plastic cutout. It's like a cardboard cutout. Yeah, sorry. Hate to burst your bubble, but there is no France. The fact that Canada is culturally in between America and Europe makes some of the things they do hyper unhinged. Tusk 2014. I have not seen Tusk 2014, so I don't actually know what you're talking about. But yeah, it is kind of like in an odd spot where it's very close to, I mean, being physically closer to the U.S. and watching a lot, basically only having U.S. media to consume for the, you know, for the most part, does make us very culturally close to the U.S., but also in some ways closer to Europe. It's very interesting. Yeah, it is. It is kind of interesting. Oh, it's not luck. That's 100% pure skill on part of the Alpha Corps. He knew he could do it. Why does everyone in this chat have so much more money than me, I say, being unemployed? Probably because my audience skews a bit older than the average chat. I think. That might have something to do with it. You should call yourself Dom, so we say you So when you say we should sub, it has a double meaning? $5 million enjoyer, that is a very dangerous idea. But I hear you. I do feel like it's it's kind of up there with Chad as like a very self-aggrandizing thing, but it just feels like a little bit pushing the envelope a little bit too far. I get that crown with bribes. Wait, let me just check. So I do know that... Oh, I'm sorry, One Cooler Guy, but Bowman managed to steal the... Flying Scoots managed to take the... Oh wait, that's so weird. It uses the @ when I click on the top fans. It uses the @ but chat regularly uses the your channel name. That's a little odd, but yeah. Bowman managed to out-bribe you. He managed to game the system. Because the amount of chat EXP that you get is not directly tied to the amount. But doing it multiple times, he managed to get it. That's interesting. What about Quebec, then? Quebec is where French people actually come from. God forbid the French with the E censored. God forbid the French break free from their prison of the country. Ugh. I went to Paris once and it was a singular kebab stand in a large field. Yeah. Yeah. Type B chat, boomer chat. Can I just keep the muscles, please? Well, sorry, Sporcool, but we're not at the point where you can just customize like that. Real life ain't a video game. Call yourself the hegemon for the aura and then never use headships. Now that's an idea. Constantly promise everyone a hegemony run and then just never do that. Come back 1 hour later and the third large missile mount is still empty. See, I think that's Type A. See, talk about Type A versus Type B, I think that's a Type A thought pattern. Right. Welcome, class, to your education in Type A versus Type B chatters. Here we have example A of a... Here we have like a... I don't know, what's the word that they use? I can't remember. No. Here's our example of a Type A behavior. Where's this one? Orange star, so not this barren world. Well, this doesn't... Oh no, this is a barren world. Okay, we'll check that. But yeah, unfortunately, I mean, we're only going to find the right, because look at these things. They call, like, look at this. Pylum LRM 22. Because it's an Oculian ship, non-Oculian weapons, regular weapons, cost more, while the stuff that's within their faction costs less. Which is a... As far as gimmicks go, it's a bit limiting, but, you know, we're going to work with what we got. And I'm collecting all of these damn officers, but I don't think they're what I'm looking for. But I still haven't found what I'm looking for. I mean, this is pretty close to what you want for an Omen. Ordnance expertise is not great, but other than that, it's looking pretty good. Okay, why does the 10 look weird, where the 1 is green but the 0 isn't? How bizarre. I guess we'll just assign you two, like this and just call it a day. Sure, why not? Omegaverse on a... Wait, shit, wrong Omega. I mean a Rift Cascade. Keep that shit on AO3, okay? Don't bring Omegaverse outside of that cursed space. Yeah, let's try to keep these prices reasonable. We're not going to deploy the Legion. We're going to deploy everything else. Bro got stun locked for a solid 10 seconds there. No, don't. Bro got CC'd IRL when he saw that. Look, I try to be smart when I say things. And it's a lot harder when you're not expecting something. You know, that's why the element of surprise is valuable. If I'm not surprised by it, it's not going to work. Yeah, you can't hit IRL stagger. Oh, wait, I accidentally deployed my flagship. Whoops. For gore. Yeah, see, that's the thing. You gotta keep ahead of the curve. You can't just do some unhinged thing and then repeat the same behavior, because then it's not surprising anymore. And I'll have a pre-planned response. But you did manage to stun lock me this time. Good job, Spore Cool. I would give you an award for that, but you probably wouldn't like the name. Does not know how to combo break. Well, yeah, I'm not much of a fighting game guy, so it's a little outside of my area of expertise. What can I say? Just straight up made you roll a willpower save. Alright, now I'm gonna just kill things and we're not gonna worry about it. Look at this. Come on, man. That's too easy. Oh, you are. And here I was, saying shit. I should have said nothing. Just a beautiful peak Star Sector, really. Took a little bit more Reapers than I thought it was going to, but we did kill it. Nature is healing. Yeah, this thing is weird. Let's get more of it. Yeah, as much as banter is fun, I do think Star Sector Community does have a bit more Type A energy to it, because I think the viewer count goes down if I spend too long talking, and I think it goes up if I just sit here and fight stuff. I don't know, the numbers don't lie. Alright, we've analyzed the data, we've crunched the numbers. Can y'all stop using the rose emoji, please? It physically hurts me. Everyone spam the rose emoji for Spore Cool. I wish there was a spear weapon that was just a Reaper on a long stick. That would be kind of cool. Ever had a Reaper get EMP'd and fly back to you towards you and detonate itself? No, I'm not sure that can happen. Can that happen? Because when they get EMP'd, they shouldn't be able to detonate. It's kind of like the point. Look, we just want stimulation overload. That's true. Right, you've got to do both, right? You've got to stimulate them with the visuals and with the talk at the same time. That's how you get the numbers, baby. Let's take some Maculian. Get him into the fleet. You've got to expand. You got to get more of the pink. The manliest color there is, let me tell you. It's the color of washed out blood. After you kill people in a white shirt, and then you clean it, and you can't get the blood out, it becomes pink. Manliest color there is. As a matter of fact. Yeah, we'll do that. Get a little hyperspace. I'll take control of it, because what are they going to do? They're not going to stop me. Oh, ooh, you're mad about it, huh? Get over here. Get over here, coward. Face me. It's a lot of roses. Generally, before World War II, pink was a boy color and blue was the girl color. I have heard that. I haven't looked into it too much, so I don't know how true it is, but I mean, like, there's a kind of a sense to it. So it's like, it's believable, but I haven't, like, actually looked into it enough to really know the full story there. Realistically, I'm here for the hilariously goofy stuff you say 80% and 80% of the time, and 20% for Star Sector or game-related things. Except for good build advice, then that's 70%. Yeah, I probably give... Well, I think that's where the videos come in. You know, when I get around to making them, is that they're more concentrated on the advice side. Right, because it's a lot easier to do that. Because again, going back to what I said about my brain, the way my brain approaches it is like, when it comes to game, like the content of the game itself is a lot easier to do for videos, because then you can concentrate it, you can edit out all the stuff in between, whereas like the unique advantage of the stream part would be the being able to interact and talk. What's your opinion on the shrouded lens? That's the point defense one, right? Haven't used it too much, actually. It does seem like it could be... The fact that it's a weapon in the form of a hull mod does seem like it could be... Like, there's definitely a good use for it, I just haven't really experimented with it much. Yeah, Inimical Emanation. So, as a point defense weapon, that one's pretty bad, but... I think the best use for it is for the debuff. Because think about Reality Disruptor. Really strong. And part of that strength is the fact that it debuffs the enemy repair rate. So the cool thing is, you could take, like think of a Glimmer, right? You could give a Glimmer an Ion Pulsar and one Inimical Emanation. All of the EMP damage from that Ion Pulsar is basically doubled now. Because it takes them twice as long to repair. So the Inimical Emanation by itself won't do a whole lot of EMP damage, but it doesn't need to, because all it needs to do is tag the enemy, and as long as it's zapping the enemy, it's constantly reapplying the debuff, so that all EMP weapons that you apply to the enemy are then effectively twice as useful. So if you have, like, a bunch of Glimmers, and you give them one Inimical Emanation, and you give them, like, Ion Pulsars, or you pair them up with Omens, that would be pretty brutal. And I think that's probably the best way to use it. Like, hitting phase ships is really narrow as a gimmick, because you mostly don't even fight phase ships. And as a point defense weapon, it's just too expensive. But the fact that it applies that debuff, that's a very rare ability. It's not every day that you can debuff the enemy ship with like, halved repair speeds. And so combining that effect, just because you only need one, right? Yes, the anemic elimination is expensive, but if you want the debuff, you only need one. And that's all it takes. Put Inimical on a Harbinger with Ion Pulsers, but I don't think you can really use the Harbinger with anything but Phase Lances or Void Blasters. I don't think you can do it with Ion Pulsers. Even though it's a burst fire weapon, it takes too long, and you're only going to get a few shots in during during your Quantum Disruptor. Whereas like Void Blasters and Phase Lances can get a lot of damage in during that short window. Also, they just have longer range. So between those two factors, it's really hard to justify using anything else. I mean, like, the idea of, like, a Harbinger using, like, Heavy Blaster and double Ion Parcel sounds really cool, but it's just not practical. Okay, so I did finish those. Okay, that's cool. How is my colony coming along? Farming's almost finished. Nice, nice. How about we upgrade to a Megaport? Do I want to do that first, or do I want to build all this other crap? I guess we should just go, yeah, we'll do this other crap. Get the Patrol HQ, get the way station, and yeah, that uses all my money. Okay. And I should also go back over there and build a comms. Something I probably... Do I have Transplutonics? No, I've sold them. Okay. I'll have to go pick some up. Where do they sell Transplutonics? One of these days I should just study like the economics of the core worlds, but I just don't pay any attention to it because I don't find it that interesting. But it would be useful to know. So that I'm not guessing every time that I need to find some Transplutonics. You should really do a mega modded playthrough sometime for the funny. Yes. Yes, I should. And whence that will be, I do not know. It is a mystery. How much money are we making off this farming? Apparently not much. I blame the accessibility. Yeah, it's only 3,000. Well, that, and also just the fact that it's farming -1. But, I mean, it's still 3, so it's not like it's the worst thing ever. Have you done a campaign where you just issued orders, i.e. no player-controlled flagship? I don't think I have, actually, now that you mention it. Maybe I should. The last of oh, I just lost most of my crew. We're fine. I mean, I have money right now, so I'm not sure what they're complaining about. Actually, how far over... You know what? I have too much crew in the first place. I bought a bunch to prepare for building a colony, but I went a little overboard. Let's trim it down. Stick to the essentials, you know? Okay, so do you guys have Transplutonics or no? Okay. Well, if we go here... Do I have to have... Okay, yeah, I don't think I can check market data if it's not here. which is a bit annoying, because it's like, okay, I want to use this system to find transplutonics, but I can only do that if I'm at a planet that has transplutonics. Which is not helpful. Well, that's part of it. I guess I could check the consumers of transplutonic ore would give me an answer. Because these probably, like, what else is it used for? It's used for refineries. Cibola and Sudene. Now, I can't actually find their locations. So, Sudene. Okay, so this consumes transplutonic ore, which means should produce transplutonics. Yeah, there it is. Brilliant. Pretty sure you don't need that many, so I'll just buy a little chunk there. Oh, right, and I can sell some of this. We can stick to 250. That's fine. So let's go home. Let's build a comm relay. Hit up that stable location. And it sure is a good thing we're not at war with the Persean League. Ever tried X4 Foundations? That's a game I heard of but haven't tried. A lot of people play without a flagship. Yeah, that's how I started playing. I find piloting pretty difficult, so I just commanded the fleet. I get it. And then you want to guess which ship I started piloting to learn? The Monitor. My flagship is just me using a support carrier issuing orders. Yeah, that's a good way of doing it. You know, maybe I should have bought more transplutonics, because if I want to go out into the deep abyss, I do want to bring a lot of transplutonics with me. And even if I don't need to buy them all at once, but I could, like, every time I go to the core worlds, buy a little bit and then slowly stockpile over multiple trips. Odyssey is the elite flagship. Yeah, well, it's a lot of fun. Or you can, or if you want the full ADHD experience, you can pilot 2 Furies with Neuralink instead. Did I sell all of my... That doesn't seem right. So I guess I did. I guess I could just kill some pirates to get some metal from their fleet, huh? That might be what I have to do. So yeah, I don't have any. But I can drop this off. I should have done this earlier. All of this can stay here. We don't need it. But yeah, I think what I'm going to do is go back and kill those pirates if they're still around. And then they'll probably give me 20 metal. Trying to spin around me, which is not a good strategy. You're just wasting your E-burn. Gotcha. Yeah. Even a tiny fleet gives you like 82 metal. Starting a new playthrough. Let's hope I get past the colony crisis this time. Well, good luck. It's just another thing I should add to the list of videos I should make. How to get through each, the specific guide to each colony crisis. I'll just throw that one on the pile of things I'll get around to eventually. Probably don't need to do hazard pay, right? Yeah. I think we're good. Access is doing alright. Yeah, it's just not making a ton of money. Because I mean, improving accessibility would help, but... yeah, it's also just the low farming yields. Well, at least it's in the it's making money, so, you know, that's good enough, I suppose. And eventually it'll grow to the next size, and then we can start light industry. I swear the Colony Crisis system needs a rework for the full release. I mean, a lot of the Colony Crisis feel fine to me, but that's because I have, you know, full information on how they... more or less how they work, and, you know, combat's not too challenging for me. So I don't think that it's necessarily too hard, but at points it could definitely be communicated better. Right, I do need to dip, gentlemen. May your talons be many, and your warthogs few. Well, it's funny you say that, because I've been going for 3 hours. I'm considering stopping here to... depends on what we could do next. That's cool, that's cool. Target analysis aggressive is good. Yeah, I don't think I'm keeping either of these around. Cut back on salaries there. We can start leveling you up to get the perfect officer. Oh, right, we have this. Let's just throw this over here. Right, we're gonna have to visit the Aculians to get the right stuff. It's something I keep forgetting for these guys. They might come equipped with a bunch of random crap, but they're not going to be very good unless we use specifically Aculian technography. So I guess we'll leave it behind for now. Am I crazy, or did the build ship screen used to show both the original and current increased stats like weapon range? That's a mod. There is a mod that does that. Do I have other weapons? Not the ones that I want. We are at war with Tritachia, though, because for whatever reason, Aculian Armada is just hostile to most of the sector. Bastards. Yeah, I think now is a good pinch point where I could go in a lot of different directions. And so it's probably good to take a break and then think about things when I come back. I'll go through my order again, thanks. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, so I think now is a good place to stop. Maybe work on some of those videos I've been talking about. Thank you all for showing up. I hope you had a good time. Take your complimentary lobsters on the way out. And I'll see you again. Sayonara indeed.